Good morning and namaste, my friend, and welcome to Namaste Today in the Zodiac Weather. My name is Christopher Witecki. I am the sensei to Sirius Joy, here to stand in my heart each day and walk in the light. It's a pleasure to light walk with you. I'm lovecasting live from my home studio on the beautiful Temple of Gaia in 5 dimensions on Monday, May 18th, 2015. And today, step 27 rules the day. Now, some people have asked me where I come up with this step system, and a lot of people are confused about astrology altogether. Let me explain really quickly how it all works. Basically, the idea of astrology is that people go through cycles. We always cycle in our consciousness. Cycles and circles and cycles and circles. And hopefully we can go up if we learn something. Otherwise, we keep going in circles and see the same view. All right? And I don't know if this is just generated because we're swinging around the sun and that makes us just walk in a circle over time. I mean, I don't know. But I do know that we can count how many times people go into circles, and we know when certain things happen, certain parts of the circle, and that's what it is. We are 27 steps into the cycle of Taurus right now. And today at the 27th step, we're going to either take action to put this into motion or not. Human beings always take action on the 27th step of a cycle. And when we talk about cycle, we're actually talking about lunar cycle. That's what our months are actually based on. But I thought I would just share that with you since some people have asked. So today, step 27 rules the day. That is a compound step. That means we're putting together 2 states of awareness. And at the end of the day, action, I am, rules the day. So today is that day where actions speak louder than words. Today is that day where you want to put whatever it is you're manifesting into action. And you do want to do it probably by sundown because tonight, Mercury goes retrograde. That's my little way of putting it. But Mercury will be retrograde for 3 weeks, which means if you have any contracts to sign, if you have any things to finalize, anything to negotiate, anything sensitive to put into motion, you should probably make those phone calls today and see what you can come up with. But before we talk about how to master the architecture of today's incarnation, let's first tame our brain, shall we, with the phrase of today. I feel my future today, and I will sense my heart. I feel my future, and I sense my heart. So my intention by giving you a phrase of the day is to give your mind something to focus on. And when I say something kind of quirky out there like, I feel my future, well, inside of myself, I can actually just kind of feel my future moving forward. I don't know how to describe it, but it's a feeling. I can feel my life in motion. I can feel my future. And if something is bad in that future or something is going to be hard, I can always feel that too, and I'm always right. So for those of you who know how to do that, know how to tune into that, that's what we're basically talking about. But if you don't know how to feel your future in a psychic way, well then pull up the emotions that the idea of the future brings for you. So if you get excited about your future, well then feel your excitement for the future. That leads to the future anyway, so it still counts. So we feel our future today. And then we want to sense our heart. Now our heart, when I say sense our heart, I mean listen. Listen very carefully. And listen for the subtleties of the heart, not so much the big things, right? So sensing the heart is sensing a very subtle decision between 2 paths. Sensing the heart is sensing what you're feeling when someone's talking to you, but you're not actually thinking about it, but you're getting a little buzz while they're talking to you. You just don't have time, or you don't want to disconnect out of being rude. So, but there is a conversation going on with yourself and your heart, okay? So today I think what we want to do is we want to feel our future on the one hand, and we want to sense our heart, because what we're going to do is leap, jump, take steps, move forward. And I would say if you're going to move forward as your sensei, you want to definitely be feeling where you're going, and your heart really is the best indicator if you're in the right place or if you're about to make the right decision or take the right action. So one more time, just to keep it in the mind, I feel my future today, and I sense my heart. And so it is. Because I said so, I thought so. Now the serious step of the day is step 27. And step 27 for me is my mantra. My midheaven, if you know classic astrology, is at step 27. So for me, I try to live by this formula as a step 9 guy. It's the next 9 up for me, so it makes kind of sense. So if you can go up another level, it tells you how to do it by just, focusing on that step. Well, today, step 27 is I feel plus I sense. And if you feel and sense it, you should act. Step 9. Step 9 is I am, I act. So we become, we act, we put into motion like an actor plays a role. We act out what we want to come, and that is the beginning of a coming. That's how the matrix works. If nothing else, people in the office see you acting out, and they're like, I know what to get him for his birthday. You know what I mean? Like, and it starts to happen. So it's like putting it into motion, putting it into action is what's key. But a lot of what's key today is that 7. I call it the keystone step. Let's look at the architecture of incarnation. Now, 7 is very important. I pointed this out already in the transit. I'm going to point it out again. I'm just going to keep teaching over and over and over again every day. Some people think that this is a lot of information. Don't worry, I repeat because the planets repeat, so we'll do it over and over, right? Well, step 7 is when we sense, when we look at that sense. This is our gut instincts. This is our God connection. This is our psychic connection. This is your random, chance. If you're a total atheist, this is random chance. Like throwing it up to chance is really throwing it up to that other sense. What is not seen, what is beneath the surface, so to speak. And I believe there's a consciousness there. So the 7 is checking into that, checking into the pre-manifest energy, the energy that's just below the surface. And you want to check on that energy 3 times in a transit. First in the beginning to see if everything's okay. Then, of course, we talked about that in the second dimension, where step 17 is, should we commit to this or not? We check in with the 7. Now, because action is an important step and action puts it into motion, into manifestation, here in the third dimension, 27 is extremely vital. People get burned a lot when they go for it, but before they go for it, they don't check the I sense. They don't check their gut. They don't check, those random chances of things that could happen, thinking through that logically. They don't check the unseen or consider that something unseen might be there. So if you don't check, right, well, there might be a problem. And if you do check, well, crap, you checked everything, right? You know what I mean? Like, you can't blame yourself if you fall at that point. So today, I call it a gut check. We're going to be doing a gut check, and we're going to move forward. And you want to do a gut check, and you want to act before Mercury goes retrograde tonight. So let's take a look at the chakras today involved in today's gut check.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do.
Well, looking at the chakras, the chakras are important to me, as you can tell. I mean, I include them in every show. And I know they're kind of an invisible force, and we don't always know how to connect to them, but I have learned in my own metaphysical studies that they are very important in the sense that they do focus our consciousness. And in the sense that when I tell you about this and you think about it, you have focused your consciousness into that point. Just by you listening and saying, oh, okay, you do focus it down there. And even if you don't believe there are spinning colors of light inside of us, to focus your energy and separate your energy in these sorts of layers will help you to manage yourself. And that's part of Sirius Joy. My whole approach to Sirius Joy is super simple. People aren't happy inside. They don't accept who they are inside. And if you can just learn to love yourself and accept yourself for who you are 100%, and then let the chakra spin that, right? Then you will be in Sirius Joy, and I think great things will happen to you. I think you'll draw in nothing but love and abundance. So today, we are spinning up the orange, and we'll be focused on the orange here for another couple of days, but orange is I manifest. I manifest breaks down to loving and protecting, and after you love and protect, that turns into trust. So once you have loved and protected it, it turns into trust. We stand on that trust, and from there we build our reality, okay? So we are standing on our trust, and you could say we are therefore rebuilding our trunk, and we kind of are. This is sort of the strong part of the bull, this ability to trust and be strong and stand and endure. And in each of us, that's the part of us in our character that we are rebuilding and putting back into place again. So we take apart the engine, we put it back together. And we do put it back together, don't worry. So we start with the orange. Then we spin up to yellow. And there's a lot of yellow going on in all the 20s, all the step 20s. In the 20th day of a cycle, it always becomes extremely emotional from 20 on up. So we are in our emotionals, and our thoughts can trigger that because that's also in the yellow. Then today we also open up our violet. Our violet is our I sense, the 7 and 27. And so our I sense opens up today, and we're kind of reading our connection to soul. So some people download this stuff in dreams. A lot of my friends who don't believe in any of this stuff will have prolific, profound dreams right when I'm predicting that we connect to I sense. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, like it's cool with me as long as you're talking to God one way or another, Call it your friend, the elephant in your dream. You know what I mean? But I sense definitely is when you get spoken to by your higher self and your higher self is nagging you. And so we're open up in that purple, and that helps us really kind of navigate our spiritual intention of the soul contract we wanted to do with Earth. Then when we put that into motion today, or when our feelings, the yellow and the purple, sort of resonate together, then we act on the red. We go back to root, we go into action, that is I am. And root means we get something pregnant, we sign a contract, we say it out loud if nothing else, we tell everyone at the office our intentions. I mean, we put it into motion somehow. And speaking does count, incidentally, so by saying it out loud, even to yourself in the car, you're putting your intentions into motion. It actually counts. You'll see for yourself. Try 1 month not saying it out loud, then say it out loud the next month, and see for yourself, my friend. So let's look at the timing of things in today's cosmic clock. And here we are with the cosmic clock. Well, the sun has progressed to step 27, Taurus, today. That is, I feel, I sense, I act on what I want to manifest, Taurus. And so today it is important to make sure that you know where it is you want to go, and if nothing else, where you don't want to go by the close of today. Energies just kind of go forward. You'll see that events in your life move today, and today is definitely the day to take action on something, like I said, before Mercury goes retrograde tonight. Let's take a look. Mercury is at step 13 today, and that's where he stops. He stops at step 13. I should say he, she. Mercury is totally polar, right? Boy, girl, black, white. In fact, during a Mercury retrograde, that's what happens. Whatever side of the brain you live on, you now flip to the other side. This is a good thing. It only happens for 3 weeks, so it's kind of like a look kind of at our life from an inside-out perspective. It's often also a look at past life information and also past life connections. It's also when we tend to unhook ourselves from things. So if we're trying to move forward and all of a sudden it's like, oh, we couldn't get forward because this relationship was nagging on us or that was nagging on us. Well, the Mercury retrograde is often time where you kind of unhook yourself from a situation and you can go forward again. So they say, don't sign contracts during a Mercury retrograde. It's my advice that you can sign something if you'd already been looking at it during Mercury direct and you don't see any problems during Mercury retrograde. But if it's the first time you're looking at the contract, try to procrastinate if you can until it's direct and look at it again with direct eyes. So Mercury goes retrograde tonight at 10:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Now Mars is also accompanying Mercury in Gemini, or the I think state of awareness. Mars is our aggressive side, so our aggression right now is in our minds, and Mars is at step 4 as well. So that means that Mars is pushing for quantum change. Step 4 is I belong. So we're trying to push to belong somewhere else. Our mind is trying to belong into a new class, belong to a new idea, belong to a new frame of thinking, belong to a new friendship, whatever the mind wants to kind of put parentheses around, if you will. But I'm sure it has to do also with whatever it is we're trying to manifest back with our hearts in Taurus. Now the moon, our emotions, will cross over both of these planets today. First, the moon crosses over Mars, so we might be a little aggressive, testy, impatient for most of the day today as the moon crosses over Mars. Then tonight, the moon will be approaching Mercury, but Mercury will go retrograde before the moon crosses. So the moon crossing will be over Mercury retrograde, and so tonight might feel kind of weird, might feel kind of off as you find your hemispheres switching on you, right? Now, this whole party going on in Gemini is opposing Saturn, and Saturn has retrograded back to 1 degree Sagittarius now. 1 is I love, so that means we are changing beliefs or maybe having to stand tall for certain beliefs around our love for ourselves and what we love about ourselves and if we love ourselves. In fact, I'll be talking a lot about love right now in today's show because of Jupiter in Leo. But right now with Saturn at 1 degree, we're looking at the philosophies of how we love ourselves or don't. And really, that Saturn at 1 degree right now is what should be what your mind, that whole party in Gemini, should weigh against. Are you loving yourself or not? That is what determines whether or not your mind goes forward with that direction or not, or goes forward with the direction of the reality making or not. Plus we have a Pluto yod, which I've been reporting on and is still constant and very important because part of that yod is Mercury, which is going retrograde now, so that's going to be interesting. The Pluto yod is pointing to Pluto at step 15 retrograde in Capricorn, so that means we are rewriting at the end of the day some of our rules, changing or flipping on one of our old decisions, or executing an old plan and bringing it forward again. All right. Now, part of this yod is Jupiter at step 14. Jupiter at step 14, there's that 4 again, right? That 4 is really the dynamic going on, especially the 4 in this Jupiter in Leo. All right. Now, the last time Jupiter was in Leo direct, by the way, was 2003. That's the last time. So you can go back to your life and you can think about, where was I in 2003? Where was my heart in 2003? What kind of heart choices was I making for myself in 2003? In this retrograde, here in the next 3 weeks, it's a good time to think back to the last time Jupiter was in Leo, and I'll be giving you some tools to that. But Jupiter now, direct at step 14, is saying, hey, it's time to take it higher. And I bring up 2003 because at that time, you either did or did not. This is your second chance or your next chance. You'll get many every 12 years, right? So today, that yod is part of your heart taking it higher. And at the same time, there is Mercury at step 13, which adds to a 4, where our mind is trying to take it higher. And as soon as it does, it's going to retrograde. All this yod pulling into Pluto. Now, anchoring this yod, swinging back and forth like a pendulum underneath the yod, is Venus. And she's not going back, actually. She's just going direct. But it's like a pendulum, you know, so it kind of pulls. And just like I was saying, Saturn was weighing back that party in Gemini. Venus is weighing back this party going on with the yod and Pluto in Capricorn. And Venus is where we receive and where we receive emotionally. Today, Venus is at step 12, so she is saying let's receive emotionally by opening up to new feelings. So all of this means today, no matter what you're doing, it's probably going to feel new. Even back to 2003, if you're on the right path, it should be feeling new. Might look the same, but feel different because you are different, right? It's 12 years later. So looking at the Tower of Truth, the Sun today has reached step 27. And so we're just 2 degrees now from kind of wrapping up this whole thing and moving into the next state, which is, I think, Gemini. Let's take a sneak peek. Looking at the I think state of Gemini, we have 3 planets, 3 focuses of our consciousness or attention right now. First of all, today the moon is crossing this whole spectrum. And like I said, the moon will cross Mercury right after it goes retrograde. So our feelings will be digesting new truths. Our feelings might uncover things we are hiding from ourselves. One of the Mercury retrograde kind of things that happens is if you've been ignoring certain truths, as soon as your mind flips over, oh, you look at this, you see it, you finally pay attention to it, and your feelings might pick up on that tonight as we go into the night. Mars is at step 4 in Gemini, so like I said, that's at kind of adding some radical belonging pressure. And Mercury is at step 13, which is also adding some radical there. The step differential is 9. Time to take action. So our mind is also ready for action. So let's boil this all down in today's Joy Quest, shall we? So that's what you know. What you know is what you have experienced so far, and what you know is particularly the no in the no, the NO, what didn't work. So follow your nose today when you take action, what you know, what you have known, and what you have said no to, and include that. So when I say follow your nose, I also mean follow your senses. I really mean listen to what's going on. And I also mean if you don't know what to do, well, follow what you have known. Follow what you do know. That is, in essence, what needs to happen. So if you're watched over my personal Sensei network, today at 9:09, I'm going to talk about where you need to move forward in your life right now. And that's in your daily life or in your solar sun chart. Then at 11:11 a.m., I'm going to give you a retro look on where your life was in 2003, the last time Jupiter was in Leo. So I'm going to talk about here's where your life was in 2003. Then at 3:03 p.m., I'm going to talk about and here's where your life is going by the end of this summer. So I'm going to give you kind of a parenthesis of kind of what your heart needs to be focusing on if you're watched over. Now, if you like to be watched over, I can start your service in about 36 hours. People do tell me these are kind of addictive, so just so you know. So once you listen or once you read, you're going to want to read more. And you can find out more for yourself at SiriusJoy.me. Now let's move on to today's telepathy. We are working on Tauruses. I think it works great for telepathy to kind of send Tauruses and learn about Tauruses. And today these are all interesting Taurus political leaders. So Taurus political leaders. One of these I am thinking about and want to tell you more about after the commercial. Am I thinking about, number 1, Harry Truman, who dropped the bomb, if you don't know. Number 2, Hirohito, in Japan, who is also a Taurus, who had the bomb dropped on him at the same time. So interesting Tauruses there. Or number 3, Queen Elizabeth, who was age 14 when we were dropping these bombs. Which of these 3 Taurus political figures am I thinking about? I'll have the answer right after this. Introducing Secrets of Birthdays. Bow chicka bow wow. Are you ready to find love? Bow chicka bow wow. Your secrets are coming out. Bow chicka bow wow. All those sexy secrets are available at secretsofbirthdays.com. Bow chicka bow wow, baby. And welcome back to Namaste Today. So for the answer to today's telepathy, from my temple to yours, was I'm beaming to you which of these 3 Taurus political leaders, kind of focused on World War II actually, was I thinking of number 1, Harry Truman, number 2, Hirohito, or number 3, Queen Elizabeth II? The answer was Harry Truman, actually. Might be obvious. Well, actually, I looked at all 3 of these characters, all very interesting. Harry Truman was born on May 8th, so he was actually a step 17 Taurus. That means he listened to his psychic intuition or didn't when he made decisions. He is hugely criticized for deciding to drop the bomb. There's a lot of evidence that Hirohito reached out and said that they intended to surrender. There's a lot of evidence that we dropped anyways. It's kind of a weird thing. As a Taurus, I don't know what I would do particularly, but I do empathize with him, and I do actually applaud Harry Truman for all of his intelligent way of trying to help rebuild Europe and how rebuild Japan. And that was completely contrary to World War I, where people just walked away, and Germany was so we left the people wounded. We weren't humanitarian at all after the First War. So I think a lot of that was that Taurus energy. So let's move on to today's rock and roll gospel on a lighter note. I don't mean to be dark, but I do send light and love to our history, so we learn from it, right? And today I'm actually going to take us on a little bit of a Jupiter retro hits. So what I mean by that is I'm going to take us back to musical songs and not really musicals, songs, rock and roll songs, that was from 2003. So you can kind of musically be put back the last time Jupiter was in Leo. So you can kind of meditate on whether or not, you're making the right choice this time that Jupiter's in Leo. I think music can totally take you back in time. So for the first of a 5-day series on our Jupiter Retro Hits during Mercury Retrograde, I have chosen Coldplay and the song Clocks. I don't know if you remember this song, but as soon as it plays, it's so eerie of a song, just like all Coldplay is, that it will tune you into in eeriness to the eeriness you have when you heard it all the time. That's my intention. So before you go cold on Coldplay, let's take a look at the moods of each of your brothers and sisters today, and a special soul vitamin. Today's soul vitamin is going to help you with that Coldplay song. You can blast to your past because it is about what you were working on and expanding the summer of 2003. So for each of the 12 signs in the steps of Sirius joy, starting with the secret step, step 0. Scorpios, cloudy with a chance of cranky today, but go back and blast to the past, because in 2003, during that summer, you were expanding your career and legacy, and you are now about to, again, is the point. Step 1, the Leos, sunny and social today with the moon in Gemini, and in 2003, you were expanding your personality and character. That was actually the first time I considered going on camera, by the way. Step 2, cloudy and rather moody today for the Cancers, but you were expanding at that time your money and your self-confidence. Step 3, the Sagittariuses, sunny and sentimental today. Back in 2003, you were expanding your belief, especially in yourself. Step 4, the Aquarians, sunny and childlike today. In 2003, you were expanding your long-term relationships, either entering or exiting at the time. Step 5, the Geminis, sunny and cool. In 2003, you were expanding your mind for the first time. Might have been college, might have been a lot of things that did that. Step 6, the Libras, sunny and learning today. In 2003, you were expanding your social world and who you believe to be in the world. Step 7, the Pisces, sunny nesting and resting today. In 2003, you expanded your work life and your daily life. In Step 8, the Capricorns, sunny and hyper-aware of their reality and health today. In 2003, you expanded your self-trust and intimacy with others. Step 9, the Aries, sunny and chatty today. In 2003, you expanded your heart, love, or personal dreams. Step 10, the birthday Tauruses for a couple more days. Sunny and manifesting today for the Tauruses. In 2003, you're expanding your home base and your family. And step 11 is the Virgos, sunny and professional today. And in 2003, you were having to expand your inner faith in yourself. All right, now today I have a new little couple of features I want to show you. For one, today's show was sponsored by Love and the letter G. You'll learn more about that a little bit later. And if you haven't seen it already, Modern Mommies came out with a new episode, of which I was a star on. I got to show up and spread my opinion. This week, the ladies talked about Tesla and the home battery system and medical marijuana and Texas. Some interesting points of view there. And I have a new thing as well. It's called the Psychic Lounge. If you haven't noticed, you can visit it by going to namastetoday.club. This is our Psychic Lounge and book club, and I posted a picture that may be a hoax or may not be a hoax. So there's a little poll there for you to do a gut check. A gut check is, what does your psychic side say about that? It has to do with a photo. I don't know. My gut had an interesting ping on it. See what yours does. You can go to namastetoday.club. And remember, I want to tell you, I love you. I'm so grateful you show up every day. I'm here for you. And I'll be here in the studio for a while. I'm going to try to catch up on my shows. I'm also preparing for some major changes. Hey, say a little prayer for me. I have to pull off a little miracle in 7 days. So any light back would be greatly appreciated. Remember to follow your nose, and I'll see you in 24 hours with more. Live, love, be.
This is just so ironic.